Mara's mornings were always the same: coffee brewing, the hum of the fridge, the television murmuring in the corner. Routine had become her refuge, a shield against the chaos of her younger years. Rain trickled down the window as she settled on the couch, barely listening to the news until the anchor's voice sharpened with excitement. A rare piece of jewelry, one of only 3 known to exist, was spotted at a charity gala last night. Mara glanced up, expecting something gaudy. Instead, the screen showed a silver chain with a deep blue stone. Her breath caught. She knew that necklace, every curve of the pendant, every shadow in the stone. It was impossible, yet unmistakable. Her mug slipped, coffee spilling across the quilt, but she didn't notice. The anchor called it priceless, worth millions at auction. A blurred photo of a woman in a blue dress appeared, the pendant glinting at her throat. Mara leaned forward, heart pounding. She had once owned that necklace. Years ago, when she was 19 and struggling alone in a small apartment, her mother had given it to her, an heirloom passed through generations. She wore it constantly, fingers brushing the stone when life felt unbearable. But the unknown had arrived anyway. Pregnant, abandoned by her boyfriend, broke and exhausted, she had turned to an adoption agency. With nothing else to give her baby, she left the necklace tucked in his blanket, whispering a promise she wasn't sure she could ever keep. Now, 18 years later, the sight of it on television reopened everything: her loss, her choices, her guilt, and the words haunted her, one of only 3 known to exist. Could this be hers? Or had fate only dangled a cruel reflection? Mara couldn't tear her eyes from the screen. If there were 3, hers might still be out there, or lost forever. The thought of her son, separated not only from her, but also from the heirloom, meant for him, gnawed at her. She searched online for the gala and found the Arts Foundation behind it. Photographs of the event matched perfectly, though there was no mention of the pendant. She called the hosting hotel under the guise of planning an event, and was told the foundation had handled guest arrangements. It was a breadcrumb, but not enough. Her thoughts circled back to the adoption agency. She had left the necklace with her baby. If it had stayed with him, perhaps the agency would know where it had gone. Trembling, she unearthed the old folder of documents. The number was still there. She wasn't ready to call, but she found their website warm words about privacy and rules, every sentence closing another door. The next morning, she forced herself to go in person. At the desk, she haltingly explained she was looking for an update on her son's file. The receptionist stiffened when she mentioned the necklace, but after a pause disappeared into the back. She returned with a sealed envelope. Inside was a photocopy of the transfer inventory. One line read, "Item, silver pendant with blue stone." Mara's breath caught. A note in the margin revealed, "Unclaimed by adoptive family, placed in child's keepsake box." Relief and dread collided. The necklace had stayed with him. A sympathetic caseworker quietly hinted that the keepsake box had been delivered to the adoptive parents upon his high school graduation. Now she had a lead. If she could find them, she could find the necklace, and maybe him. Tracking the adoptive family wasn't easy, but Mara was relentless. Eventually, she found an address and a phone listing. When the adoptive mother answered, Mara stumbled through her story, explaining the heirloom, the adoption, and how she had only just learned the necklace's true worth. There was a long silence before the woman finally said, "He had it appraised recently." The jeweler was astonished. "He's been asking about the necklace, wondering why someone who owned it would give him away." Mara's heart raced. The adoptive mother agreed to tell him only that someone wished to discuss the necklace, nothing more. A meeting was arranged at a quiet cafe. Mara arrived early, nerves twisting inside her. Each sound of the door made her look up. At last he walked in, tall, broad-shouldered, the necklace resting against his chest. Her throat tightened as he asked, cautious, "You wanted to talk about this necklace?" She nodded. "It belonged to me once. I gave it away a long time ago." Slowly the truth unfolded: the heirloom, the adoption, the keepsake box. His eyes narrowed as realization dawned. "You're saying you're my birth mother?" She nodded, bracing herself. "Why did you give me up?" he asked. Mara told him everything: the poverty, the loneliness, the belief that love wasn't enough. Tears blurred her eyes as she whispered how she had left him the necklace, thinking it was worthless, but hoping it might one day guide him back. Silence stretched. Then he said softly, "Even without it, I would have wanted to know you." They talked for hours, bridging years of absence. The ache in Mara's chest didn't vanish, but it softened. She realized the past couldn't be undone, but the future was theirs to choose, and that was enough.